June 1st, 1996, Ukraine is sending its last nuclear missile launcher to Russia. Before the signing of the Budapest Memorandum, Kyiv had the third largest nuclear arsenal in the world. Ukraine fulfilled its obligations. It destroyed 2,000 strategic nuclear warheads. In return, the US, UK and Russian Federation guaranteed that they would never use force against the territorial integrity or independence of Ukraine. According to the document, their weapons will never be used against Ukraine. February 2014, one of the signatories of the Budapest Memorandum, Russia, is annexing Ukrainian Crimea, and in the spring it sends troops into Donetsk and Luhansk regions. 8 years later, shortly before the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russian troops, Kyiv once again reminded the international community of the security guarantees given in 1996.
Ukraine has tried to convene consultations of the guarantor states of the Budapest Memorandum 3 times since 2014. 3 times! By the way, unsuccessfully.
On the first day of a full-scale war unleashed by the Kremlin, Russian troops managed to capture the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. More than 200 people were taken hostage, employees, civilians and National Guardsmen. In just over a month of occupation, according to the Chernobyl NPP management, the Russian military killed 9 plant employees, captured 5 of them and stole and destroyed equipment worth about $135 million, according to the Minister of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources of Ukraine.
Everything was scattered here. Computers were in the middle of the room. Everything bad that could be done was done. The chip is worth the most. It is small. It can be sold as gold. All the contacts are made of gold. And then those who knew took things. I even think that there was someone from Rosatom here. They stole equipment worth thousands and broke things worth millions. We thought that this was impossible in our time. They put us under moral pressure. Just when they saw us, they put us on the floor, or rather on the ground. They searched our phones, asked who we were and what we were doing here.
If the Kyiv region, where the Chernobyl NPP is located, was liberated at the beginning of April 2022, then the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is still under the control of the invaders since the beginning of March 2022.
There had been no such precedents in the history of mankind before, when one country, a country of the same conventions of the International Atomic Energy Agency, occupies a nuclear power plant of another independent country, which is also a country of international conventions in the field of nuclear and radiation safety.
Russian provocative shelling of the territory of Europe's largest nuclear power plant, the undermining of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power station, kidnappings, bullying and pressure on personnel, these Moscow's actions were qualified as nuclear terrorism. Greenpeace is conducting its own investigation into the actions of the Russian military at the Zaporizhzhia plant. According to reports, one of the main problems of the plant is disruptions in the supply of electricity to the 6 reactors and the vital function of water cooling. In addition, according to recent statements, Rosatom plans to restart the operation of the nuclear power plant, which, given the ongoing hostilities, lack of qualified personnel and shutdown of reactors, could be a fatal mistake. And even the IAEA team present at the occupied plant still does not have access to some areas of the plant that are important for nuclear safety.
Accidents like those at Chernobyl and Fukushima will not happen because the units are stopped. They are not at capacity, but some kind of local accidents may occur, because the nuclear power plant has already gone down to 0 8 times, 7 times completely, once partially. The main concern is related to the fact that there is information that the stupid Russian military is using the Zaporizhzhia NPP premises for storing military equipment, including for storing ammunition. God forbid something happens there. It will be a very serious problem, but I want to emphasize that nuclear power plants are designed in such a way that a serious disaster like in Chernobyl can only happen if an explosion, destruction, occurs from the inside.
Nuclear blackmail is the Kremlin's favorite method. If Putin's rhetoric changes from direct threats to unleash a nuclear war to statements about the desire for peace, then the degree of discussions in the TV studios of propagandists does not decrease. For years, talking heads on Russian television have been promising to turn the entire world into radioactive ash. Lukashenko does not lag behind the head of the Kremlin. On May 21, 2024, the second stage of joint exercises in Russia and Belarus began. The military is practicing the usage of non-strategic nuclear weapons. Earlier, Lukashenko said that the Russian Federation had transferred to his country, I quote, several dozen of the most modern nuclear weapons.
Until now, in fact, there is no definitive confirmation whether nuclear weapons are actually located on the territory of Belarus. But what definitely isn't located there is that Lukashenko doesn't have any kind of nuclear button. It is one thing to place missiles somewhere. Another thing is to give some politician in another country the right to dispose of them. And it seems to me the obvious reason why Putin doesn't give out his nuclear weapons to someone else is because Putin, in principle, doesn't give out his weapons, but on the contrary, accumulates them in Russia.
Radiation and nuclear safety is the first point of the peace formula of President Volodymyr Zelensky. Russia is obliged to stop nuclear blackmail, comply with international rules on the use of nuclear energy, and provide the opportunity for organizations such as the IAEA to conduct proper control. Ukrainian nuclear power plants must operate under the full control of Ukraine, and Russian troops must leave the territory of the Zaporizhzhia MPP. These are the main requirements of Kyiv.
We have always cared about diplomacy, but Putin rejected the diplomatic solution, starting a full-scale war and choosing attempted genocide of Ukrainians instead of dialogue with Ukraine. It was his choice. And the world really needs unity to overcome this huge challenge. Great efforts are needed from countries on all continents.
The first step towards punishing Russia for nuclear blackmail was made by the U.S. Congress. The law, which President Joe Biden signed in mid-May, bans the supply of low-enriched uranium produced in the Federation and at Russian facilities to the United States. Thus, the aggressor's budget will lose about $1 billion in profit every year. Experts are confident that the most effective sanctions will be against Rosatom itself. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Larissa Petruk, UATV News.